everybody, to another edition of On the Trail in Search of Living Legends. This is going to be episode 6 of season 5. Tonight, of course, I've got my partner, Mr. Nick Valente, with me. Nick, how's it going, brother?
Doing great, doing great.
Awesome.
And we got a special guest tonight,
Yes,
Mr.
we
Carter
do.
Buschardt.
Carter, how's it going?
It's going stunning.
Excellent. It's been a while, man.
It has been. Well, everybody keeps getting sick or getting busy.
Yep.
And then I am too, you know.
Yep.
And he still has that great paint job on those walls. So I'm going to tell
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I know I've sent you that several different times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We on the share screen and we got it all.
All three of us are on at once.
Yeah, we're all on at once. I got the gallery view.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Carter, before we go into everything, I know you've been on the show before, but that was what, 3 years ago. For all the new viewers, you want to give a little background on yourself, how you got into this whole ordeal?
Oh yeah. Okay. Carter Buschardt. I've been researching Sasquatch for about 13, 14 years. I'm still with BFRO as of today. I've led 4 expeditions for BFRO, and that's where I really had my first visual sighting on thermal of a Sasquatch, and it just vanished. It just disappeared. And so I went from aper to non-aper, because I've seen and experienced things and heard things I can't explain. Well, not just me, I can tell you that, but my witnesses. I've got people coming through the woodwork with incredible tales. And my last 2 books have been paranormal, quantum stuff that you hear about, but most people just blow it off immediately. Well, that can't happen. Well, it does happen. It's happened to me. It happened to me and my wife. I took my wife out to a place that one of my research areas here in Missouri. Something happened to me and she watched it and she was appalled and shocked and the whole. So anyway, this is real stuff, but nobody wants to talk about it. A lot of the ape shows and the conventions, conferences, if you got any woo in you, you just keep walking. They won't talk to you.
Right.
And that's fine with me, because those guys will be at the other end of the stick one day when, and this could all be wrong. This could all be theory that is just not true, but the stuff is happening. I'm seeing it. People with far more credentials and validity than me are reporting this stuff. And so what do you do when a cop or a scientist or a congressman or a scientist calls you and goes, I got to tell you this. What do you do with that? At some point you got to start believing these people. You can't just blow them up. So that's how I got into this. So I'm passionate.
Carter, an early question. By quantum, what do you mean by that? That they're possibly portals, other dimensions that we're dealing with?
Possibly changing the vibrational frequency. Maybe they appear to disappear. Maybe they actually can and do. I've seen it, so it does happen. Other people report it. It's, and Ron Moorhead is so much more eloquent with this stuff than I am as far as explaining it. But, it is, even science agrees that it is possible to change vibrational frequencies.
Yeah.
And they will admit to 4 or 5 dimensions, depending on who you talk to. There could be 11 to 21 dimensions.
That's right.
So who's to say, here's the deal. An octopus can blend into surroundings. You can look at a piece of coral and suddenly it moves. It's not coral. It's an octopus that has disguised its body to look like its surroundings to help it feed and escape predators.
Yep.
So why can a Sasquatch not do that? Because it's on land. I mean, why can other, chameleons, gypsy moths, they're already born matching their surroundings. So, but you take a chameleon and you just watch a chameleon change into a brown, from green to brown, and you can't see it. you know it's there, but it'll hide from predators.
Right.
Same with this octopus. So why can that not happen with a gorilla-looking creature? I say, why cannot it? The only reason you can say it can't happen is just because I just don't believe it. You can't really say, well, that can't happen, because it can happen. It happens in nature. There's
Sure.
there's
Sure.
examples in nature all around us of creatures that can change their geometry, change their molecular, change whatever to disappear.
Yep.
So it defies logic to say, well, that's okay, that's an octopus. Well, we're talking about a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or a gorilla looking thing. Well, they can't do that. Why?
Why
can't
not?
they? Because they're ugly. I mean, you know, are they not? If they were a handsome looking, good looking creature, maybe you'd say, oh, well, that's possible. You know, I mean, why do we say one thing can't happen, but yet another creature, it can do it? It's not right. Take your pick.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's not at all. So what do you got going on right now?
Well, my book is being printed as we speak. It should be mailed on the 23rd. So my third book in the series, and this is all I have to show you. Kind of cheesy, but it's just a printed. And the photo on here, I've got. You can't really tell that, but there's 4 seconds between the gentleman in that photo and the Sasquatch hand appearing in the same camera shot he's in. 4 seconds.
Just 4 seconds. That's amazing.
And I've been to the property. I mean, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
So, you know, and, you know, and I posted the photo about a week ago, and the internet was blowing up. Fake, or that's the greatest photo I've ever seen in my entire life. It's fake, it's phony. Who allows people to put this stuff on? You know, I mean, that kind of stuff, you know. And I was going, you know, my wife said, well, you know, that was going to happen one day. I said, yeah, I just, you know, I'm kind of spoiled. I didn't want to yell at me, but they did. But it's funny, you know, it's just, you know, it's fake, it's phony, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I can't believe it. Which is it? You know, it's that axiom. If the photo is too good, it's got to be fake. If it's a crappy photo, I told you they're not real. You know, and I'm on the receiving end now. I don't like it, but you know, it's part of the program. You know,
it is.
Ron, without giving away the location, we can say that it's located in the Midwest United States.
That's good enough.
Good.
All right. We can't, I promise never to, in the book, it's not revealed.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter who it is or where it is. It's the event and whether you believe it or not.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's Midwest, United States. They've had other things going on out at their property. Possibly another being of another type. Nobody's really sure. In the book, it explains it. He saw a elk.
Okay.
With razor sharp teeth.
Oh my God.
He saw some weird stuff. He saw a Sasquatch morph into a deer. Deer morphed into the Sasquatch. The Sasquatch turned into an elk that had razor sharp, spiky teeth, and there was a Shih Tzu.
A Shih Tzu.
All in this one little area.
Wow.
And so the guy is a preacher. So first off, if anyone wants to call my guy a liar, I'll give you his email. You can tell him, Pastor, I think you're a liar, because, you know, he's a preacher. If you're going to believe somebody, you know, and I asked him flat out, and I've looked at the photos, you know, this photo, and there's no manipulation of the handprint. Well, that don't look like any handprint I've ever seen. Those fingers look really just too weird and too.
Yeah, the nails look awfully odd. Definitely not human nails.
Very.
Yeah. And might not be a Sasquatch, but it's something.
Maybe
it ain't
not.
human.
It's something.
Whatever it is. Or somebody said, well, 4 seconds. They gave him time to run over there to the camera and put a glove on.
Oh, come on.
But that's the logic of the people. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I can't help it's going to roll off my back. I don't care. But it is a really, you know, and like I said, he did not.
That is really some picture, yes.
He did not see it. He did not hear it or sense it. Now he did at other times, but not at this juncture right here. He did not.
And for the understanding of the audience, the top picture was taken approximately 4 seconds before that bottom picture went off.
Yeah, the time is 3:12 in the afternoon with the guy on top. That's the preacher. 3:12 and 36 seconds. The handprint is 3:12 and 40 seconds.
Right.
Wow.
Now they got a lot of cams out there. Is that how they're getting these shots?
They have 30 to 33. What they do is they have them in groups of 3. So there's like 3 trees. So one camera's facing the other camera, that camera's facing this camera, that one's facing. So you don't miss anything.
Right.
Right. So they're all in triplicate, you know. But I found some really great structures out there. They have seen and sensed other things since I've been out there, and so they're out there. I have talked to the game warden in this particular area. He's a believer of paranormal quantum aspects of Sasquatch, the potential. Okay. He's open to it. He's seen some stuff he can't explain, but he's employed by the state that they're in. He can't say anything or he loses his job, as all forestry workers will lose their job if they say, oh yeah, I saw one. I believe in them. Oh, we got caves everywhere. Yeah, they're probably all over the place. Yeah. So I've got enough background in supporting data that it's like, it's a gold mine. This guy's got some stuff going on.
Sure.
And so, you know, awesome structures out there, you know, and I mean, I've been all over the property. It's about like 25, 26 acres. And I don't think they live there because it's a lot of woods, but sparse, no caves or anything, but there are caves that butt up to this property, which are
okay.
Now, by structures, are you referring to the teepees that they usually leave, or?
Yeah, teepees, 4, 5, 6 plexes, as I call them, like where they're all like asterisk or they're all interwoven.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that? What are those teepees supposed to signify?
Well, I have a couple of teepees that keep getting added to or taken away from. Like there's new sticks added on a couple of my researchers. But overall, I just think they're saying this is my area. You know, the teepee to me indicates home. It's a home comfort thing. I mean, you can get inside. That's a place to hide and you know, reflect or connect with you know, the powers that are out there if that's your belief system. So, but you know, the structures are telling other Sasquatch, this is my property, you're welcome here, or this is my property, you're not welcome here. Good food over here, bad food over here, you know, humans over there. I mean, we don't know what they're saying, but they're all over the place, and you know, they're communicating right under our noses. I wish I knew. You know, people are really getting educated on the glyphs. I'm getting more feedback on the glyphs that people are finding, and that's in my book too. I've got a guy that's getting glyphs left on his front yard, bones stuck in the ground. It's just bizarre, you know.
It is.
It's so bizarre, but, you know, but the Sasquatch are talking to each other right in front of us, and we have no idea, you know.
Yeah.
With calls, clacks, knocks. You know, maybe some of those knocks are with hands. Maybe they're not wood on wood. You know, they don't have to be. Especially after a rainy night. You tell me where a Sasquatch is going to pick up a dry enough stick unless it carries it with him or has it hidden under a log somewhere. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of things that could be making these sounds.
Mouth pops.
Yeah, mouth pops. What if they have two larynxes,
Yeah,
two vocal
exactly.
cords? You know, which has been propositioned by a few people.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know
We
anything.
don't know.
You know,
Carter-
all the pictures people have, there's not one photo of a Sasquatch banging a stick on a tree.
No, there's not.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And whether that's happening or not is a whole other story. But if it's not happening, then there are other explanations for getting sounds. It's bizarre. It's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and in this book, I think I've got 13 chapters. I'd say 80% of the book is going to be quantum, paranormal, habituation, communication between, you know, a creature that may have been here tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of years. And my people are trading flowers and mirrors and bananas and apples with them. Is that activity lost on anybody? These people are having an interaction with a incredibly primitive
Being.
creature.
Yeah.
Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon era. I mean,
Yeah.
they're communicating with a beast that goes back tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. And I don't know. I talked to one of my habituation witnesses, and she was like, "I never thought of that. Oh my God!" You know, she goes out to her gifting site, and they take her mirrors and they turn them upside down because they don't want to see their reflection.
Yeah.
Which I told her, you know, I'd put the mirrors up because I've put them up and I think a Sasquatch would like to see its reflection. Well, I might be wrong on that because maybe, you know, maybe they are ugly, you know, or maybe they don't, you know, what their face looks like is not their merit. It's not their worth.
Not their conception of what they look
Right.
like.
They don't care about that.
Right.
And so this lady I'm talking to, she's my witness in Washington. They're taking the mirrors and turning them down. They're pulling them down. She wraps them on vines. They're taking them down and they're putting them facing the ground. She takes them back and puts them back up on the tree, and they take them and lay them on the ground, mirror down. They don't want to see the reflection. Is that crazy?
That is.
That's amazing.
And she's going back and forth with a being that could be hundreds and hundreds of years old and could have been here generationally thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's like having a relationship with a caveman. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't even think these people realize what they're doing because they're trained. They like to see the Sasquatch on their property, and they're just coming and going and, you know, throwing an apple or a banana out there. You know, like my guy I was telling you about, you know, they're stealing, radishes, strawberries, eggplants, and they're leaving a bouquet of collard greens, turnip greens, on the grave of their cat they just buried.
Wow.
I mean, you know, and this kid that this stuff's happening to, he's just dumbfounded. Well, what do I do? This is the kid who had a Sasquatch trapped in his greenhouse. It ran by him and brushed right against him. There's only room for one person going out the door. It ran right by him, face to face, brushed him. It turned its side, it went sideways, and they were looking at each other face to face about, I don't know, a foot apart, maybe.
Whew.
It rubbed on him. But
That
it
was
had no intention of hurting the kid. You know
That
what
was
I
a
mean?
juvenile, right?
It was a juvenile. They have him at about 6.5 to 7 feet tall. When you get the book, you'll see the handprint that's on the plastic, like the other one I showed you. I'll show it to the people.
Okay.
And it's up above the door. And this photo was to the right of the door. Now this Sasquatch, you want me to show it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I wish I had a better photo.
Wow.
Now,
That
for the
is a
audience, this is
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch on the inside, looking
It's
out.
on the inside of a greenhouse, which is made out of that very, 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 very thick plastic, sheet plastic. And it is inside looking out. That's why all the condensation is on there, because they have heaters. Right here in Missouri right now, it is in the, teens. and, you know, 0 at
Right.
night, and it kills his. So this thing is inside where it's nice and warm and moist, sleeping at night, eating all his food.
And that's taken with a camera phone.
A camera phone.
Right.
That's all they got.
That's
You know,
incredible.
we're trying to figure out a way to get a good camera trap in the greenhouse, like a row of lights that's really not lights, but a couple of trail cams up and, you know, in a kind of a shadow box, just pointing down. I think about burying a trail camera in the ground, face up, with just a slight angle up.
Right.
So you don't even see it and you walk right by it. You know, I've had a couple of those work pretty well, but I've just got to figure out a way to get down there and get it up without attracting suspicion, you know, because this family of Sasquatch watches this family like hawks, not because they're spying, they're truly fascinated with their lifestyle, their family life. You know, they have kids, you know, and they're watching them farm and, you know, cut down trees and make firewood. The cats are having kittens. The old cat died. The cat buried the cat. Sasquatch comes over and lays some collard greens as a token of appreciation for the cat that died. And I think that the collard greens that it left on the grave is also a thank you for all the food I stole.
Yeah.
Which is really ticks this kid off, because this is how he makes his living.
Right.
You know, they're not dirt poor, but they're living off the land, and
off the grid.
Comes in and takes your food.
Yeah.
That's taking money out of your wallet, you know.
Sure. Carter, let me rewind you back a second when you mentioned handprints. Now, when I was in North Carolina and up here, they'll leave handprints on my windows. We were finding them all over the old trestle where we used to do our research down in North Carolina, and they would leave a white oily substance off their hand. Have you come across any of that?
Oh yeah, I've got several of them. That's a Alba vernix. Alba vernix is what that's
Alba
called.
vernix. Okay.
What's his name? He's got a podcast.
Toby?
No. Was the head of paranormal programming for like one of the big channels. How'd you say? How'd you say? He came up with that term.
Okay.
And so it's called Alba vernix. And I've got, in the new book, I have the white greasy stuff on the window from a couple of my witnesses.
Yep. I've got it. Where they would have had to put it, it would have had to have been, you know, the handprint itself was 8 feet, you know, on our second pane of window.
Yeah.
You know, each time they do this, it's nowhere a human could reach.
Jay, you showed me a picture of that, and you know what?
Yes.
That handprint, along with some of the nail, looks an awful lot like the bottom photo that Carter just showed us.
It does, doesn't it?
Unusual nails. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
It really does.
Yep.
See, and so, and those nails, I don't really know. When I first got this photo, trust me, I looked up gorilla hands for sale.
Right.
You know, costumes and all that. Nothing looks like that. And we don't know what a juvenile's hand looks like, as it's, you know what I mean? We don't know. Exactly. Not all hands are like, you know, 14, 15 inches long. No. This could be a juvie.
Could be a juvie. Yeah.
Or it could just be a deformation of a hand. I mean, we don't know. Yeah. This just could be what it looks like growing up.
I mean, I found some, you know, they've left some twice the size of my hand and smaller than my hand, you know, so.
Yeah. It's just we don't know.
No.
And all of our theorizing about what they are, could be wrong. But we got nothing. Since science is lying to us, the government's lying to us, you know, the lumber and paper companies, they're lying to us. They're not going to tell us anything. So we're going to have to follow the data. We have to make our own evidence. That's another thing I push in the book. And this isn't evidence like science evidence. This is evidence that something is going on.
Something's going on.
People living in rural, isolated areas, people living next door to me. I mean, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah.
But the stuff is that it's evidence of an empirical nature. This is evidence that something, people are experiencing something and something is going on. If scientific evidence, no. Well, screw it. If we wait for science to call this evidence, well, we'll all be dead.
Yeah.
But it's evidence that there is something going on is what it is, not evidence like evidence, although I would call this evidence all day long, but I'm not a scientist.
Carter, I got a question I'd like to throw at you, get your ideas on this. In my many years, and it's going on over a decade now, of doing field investigation, boots on the ground out there in the wilderness, in the forest area, 5, 6, 7, 10 miles into an area, I've seen trees upended and shoved down back into the ground.
Yeah.
There's nothing human I know that can do that.
No.
Saying that it's been done by a Sasquatch possibly, and I'm talking like this one case in particular. I was in with my team. We were well over 9 miles into a 100 square mile forest area in the United States, and we saw approximately 8 of these trees upside down and into the ground. And I'm not talking about 6-inch trees. I'm talking about 10-inch, maybe bigger.
Yep.
Why is that? Why are they taken out of the ground and shoved in upside down? You have any idea?
Yeah. Most everyone I talk to, in my supposition, is a warning, stay out. This is my area.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
It's just, Nate.
Yeah.
He's got some photos.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Yep.
I mean, but to me, that is the ultimate, this is my area. You stay away. I'm not responsible for what happens to you if you come past.
So it's not like a teepee that says, this is my area. This is like the machine gun that's pointing at you saying, stay out of my area.
Yeah. And here's something that I'm getting in tune with, and you may have heard of it, but the Sasquatch get their energy from the trees, from the forest.
Yeah.
And so if they are to uproot a tree and shove it in the ground upside down, I think that's like a huge statement, because I don't think that's something they take lightly.
Yeah.
It's destroying a tree from which they get energy.
Exactly.
And I've got another witness who he just got in contact with me, and he is, claiming that they go in and out of the trees for energy. He's claiming they go in and out of trees to perhaps die if they're sick. There was a story out about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, of a guy that has a special permit up in Canada somewhere to go and cut down diseased or dead redwoods. He has to tell whoever it is, the government, when he gets a permit, I'm going to go to this certain location. I'm going to cut down this tree, because it's redwood trees that are in danger of maybe falling and hurting other people. So, and he has got a permit because he was a logger to go in and cut down certain trees that are dead, but they're redwoods. According to him, a buddy of his, not him, cut down a tree, a giant redwood tree, huge. Inside, when it fell to the ground and shattered open, was a skin-covered skeleton of what he could only describe as a Sasquatch.
Wow.
Inside the tree.
Wow.
Now that is like the most incredible story I've heard. So you got to go, okay, that would explain why you don't find bodies. Of course, I think just like any alpha predator, like a lion or a tiger or an elephant or a wolf, you don't find their bodies lying around either, or bear.
No.
If they're injured, they go somewhere and they hide themselves until they get better or they die.
Yeah, they hole up.
They're already hidden.
Yep.
So they're already buried. You know,
That's people's famous argument. How come I never come across a dead bear carcass?
yeah.
Well,
And I answer that probably at least once a week. So do
same
you.
here.
So both of you, all you guys.
Yep.
I'm sure you. But what if that is something they do? They go into a tree and they die. That's where they get their energy. If you look
Yeah.
up at the, you know, at the canopy of the trees, they're all, I mean, they're all moving in unison and they all speak to one another and talk. I mean, you know, if you get into all of that stuff, we may be missing a whole boat there, you know.
Yeah.
Some of these big giant redwood trees have dead Sasquatch in them.
Yeah.
That's like a fantastical tale. And how would you pick a spot to go? I'm going to go cut down a tree till I find one with a Sasquatch inside. You know?
Oh,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
not
So,
good.
but you know, that's an interesting theory. Why? And if you know, you have to wrap your head around the fact that they have quantum skills where they could change their energy frequency, change their vibrational frequency, and here they are, and right here they are, but you don't see them, but they're standing right there. You know, so Hindus, Buddhists, they get to those certain aha areas in their meditation, transcendental meditation. They're there, they're floating, they're flying, they're going. I mean, and they tell you all about it. They don't care if you don't believe it.
Yeah.
But that's part of a huge belief system in a huge portion of the world. You know, the Indians and Africans, they believe that. They believe that for centuries and eons, you know. And so we're Westerns, we're white men. We got our Western religion and our Western belief system, you know. And so we only think the way we think, you know.
Right.
And you know, we're educated from the day we're born. We're taught how to think and what to think. It takes you 20 years, first 20 years of your life, you're educated.
Yeah.
Subliminally or otherwise.
Or otherwise.
And so if you see something, you don't, you know, I saw a Sasquatch. That's not right. That can't be. It must be something else. It must be a guy. You explain it away, and then you go about your business, and you just think nothing of it. You know, but those of us that are hungry and know, okay, that ain't right. Something's wrong here. When you start looking into things, like the three of us sitting here, you know, you're investigating things, you know, and so, you know, what if that is actually happening, and we're just brainwashed into thinking, well, that can't happen because, well, my preacher told me, well, the teacher told me, well, my professor told me, well, my mom and dad told me that can't happen. So, well, they're screwed up too. They're all educated the same way we are. First 20 years of your life, in 22 or 3 years, if you go on to graduate school, you know, from the birth canal to 2022, you're getting told how the world is.
Yeah.
You know? So no wonder we don't believe. We can't comprehend any of this.
Exactly.
It sounds, you know, just fantastical, you know.
Well, that's mainly the sheep that just blindly follow. There are those of us that question and have always questioned and want to know the answers, and we search out the answers, and we just don't blindly believe, you know, what they say.
Yeah.
So it's just something that people have to think about on their own. You know, are you going to blindly believe, or are you going to actually find out what something is, or at least investigate it?
Yeah, that's just it.
See.
Just investigate.
That's all we're asking.
No one has to know that you're considering it. No one will know that you opened your mind and like thought about something. Well, should be a secret. Nobody will tell you. Nobody will tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that Bob aptly opened his mind and read a book.
Right.
Oh my God. You know, there's nothing wrong. And like I say, this is all theory. I could be totally wrong with my theories and suppositions. Well, that's okay. But we're basing our theories on the evidence that we come up with and our witnesses come up with. That's all we got.
You got to follow your data.
Huh?
You got to follow your data.
Yeah. And it is what it is until you can tell me something otherwise. I'm not going to go, you know, trashing you and saying you're an idiot because you believe a different way. It's just think it, put it in your pipe and smoke it. You know, you don't know till you check it out. We could all be totally wrong.
Yeah.
But you see, this lends to the fact that out of every 100 people that actually report a sighting of a cryptid, you probably have 6 to 7 times more that
Oh,
have
yeah.
seen but do not report it because just what you said, Carter, people are going to think they're crazy, you
Yeah.
know? And personally, I don't really care what somebody else thinks. It's what I've seen, what I've researched,
Same
what I
here.
know. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me that I didn't see this. Just recently, I came back from North Carolina on several reports of a dogman sighting in Washington County near Phelps Lake. And I went out there with a team, Carter, and we spent quite a few days. And on Saturday morning, the 11th, it found us. We all took a knee. It came up to the bush bipedally and put its head over the bush. It was an unusually large black bear, approximately 6'5", and
Big bear.
it had a deformed muzzle. I mean, extremely large muzzle, which is why people were calling it a dog man. And, you know, so that makes the point what you're saying there. I mean, you know, a lot of people didn't want to report it. Several people did. 9 people in 10 days did report it. But, you know, this was just a regular bear that loved to stand up bipedally and sniff around.
Isn't that crazy? And they do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And-
amazing. I mean, it sniffed us out, and then it got a little angry and took 3 steps towards us. I told the guys to stand down, and 2 of the guys just were on either side and shot it with bear spray. He immediately dropped to all 4s and took off. But I did get a good eyeball view. I mean, I could see why people thought it was a dog man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Me
the
too.
muzzle was, you know, and 6'5", that's very big for a black bear. They usually
Yes.
go 4'6" to 6'2" maximum. And something else we learned, well, at least my membership learned, is that in North Carolina, black bear do not hibernate.
Nope.
So North Carolina is one of them places that they just don't hibernate, but this bear is out there. I got back to some of the witnesses, and some of them did thank me, and some of them were kind of disappointed, you know, that it wasn't a dog man. But
Yeah.
but you see, we probably had a lot more reports out there, and people just never came forward with it.
Yeah. Well, I put my crappy little dog man story in this new book too.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
All right.
All right.
It's a good story. I wish the picture was better, but you know, but it is distorted. It is really deformed. But you've seen it. I've shown it to you. But I put it in there just because this book is all about really bizarre things that people are telling me that they're living through every day, and nobody knows about it. So I made sure everything in here is just like, that can't be.
Yeah.
That can't be. Oh, come on. I mean, really? People are living with these creatures, beings, doing bizarre things or just interacting on a daily basis. That is the coolest part. These people are feeding them. They're trading trinkets. They're seeing them and kind of, hi, Bob. Hey, Carl. I mean, it's just one of those, it's one of the, it sounds funny, but they don't think anything of it anymore. Like we are, because they do it every day. Hey, Mama, I think I saw the fuzzy bear today. Oh, did you? Where was he? Oh, he's over there by the creek. Well, that's good, Johnny. I'll go out and play. So, I mean, who does that? They're having relationships with these beings, and it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
That's why I put all these people, because I'm trying to get people to see that these people are not BSing. They're having sightings. They're having events. This is not crazy stuff, you know, and I want the people that are having these events to come out and tell us about them, and keep your identity secret. Keep your face out of the thing. We don't need a location to, we just need the story, because nobody believes this is really happening. And some of these stories I got in here are pretty compelling, especially the one with, you know, this thing here. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
that it just freaky, you know, like I was telling you guys earlier, when I posted this about a week before, when I finally got my book uploaded and sent to the printer, I finally, okay, well, I know it's coming now, so I'll go ahead and put the cover on. Oh, that's a fake. That's fake. Who lets a guy like that put this fake stuff up? You know, well, that's the greatest photo I've ever seen. Oh, that's fake. You know, he made that up. Ain't no way that can happen. 4 seconds, but yeah. What do? You know, if I've got a dead body and I'm standing right by it with Biden standing next to me, oh, that's fake. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, they're gonna scream fake and bull, no matter what. Like we talked about earlier, if the picture is really, really good, it's got to be fake.
Right.
If it's really bad,
Right.
I told you. You know, you can't win with the evidence game.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because
Right.
people will be disappointed that their opinion or their guess was not the right one.
Yep.
So they're going to trash you.
If it's a
Absolutely.
blurry
Okay, I got a
picture,
thick
if it's a
skin. You
blurry
know, I've had
picture,
people
they'll
throw
love
beer
it.
bottles at me when I was playing in my rock bands back in the 60s and 70s. So you throw a beer bottle at me. You know, we played in those bars like in the Blues Brothers. You know, with the chicken wire. We played in some of those places down in Louisiana and Texas. They throw stuff at you. They don't like you, or if they do like you, they throw stuff.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and throw stuff at me because I didn't make this up. People are calling me and telling me, and they don't want anything. They don't want any money. They don't want their name. Nobody knows who this is or where it is. They just want to get the story out. Who hoaxes something like that without any payoff?
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're going to hoax, I want to be there to see you run screaming out of the woods because I'm wearing a ghillie suit that looks like a Sasquatch. I want to see, I want to get my money's worth.
Right.
What hoaxer will just do this and then I don't want anybody to know anything of who it is or what it is. I just, you know, I'm just telling you what happened. Hoaxers don't do that. They want attention. And he's getting attention, but nobody knows who he is.
Right.
He's a pastor for a church. That's the last thing he wants anybody to know. But he's still risking it to tell me. Do you think somebody in his congregation would want to know that he believes in Sasquatch if they are asking him to pray for my dying relative?
Probably not.
I mean, there's a certain decorum or protocol.
Right.
So he wants to be who he is, but he's also sharing this story with me, you know?
Yeah.
And in the book, it really talks about it. He delves into his spirituality as a Christian pastor. It's really interesting. It's just another interesting angle from a person who experiences Sasquatch from time to time.
Right.
It's interesting to see his, and it's pretty interesting. So, I mean, it's got a lot of religious rhetoric in his chapter, but at the end of the day, he still saw this, which is what we're all trying to do.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, he's just like all of us. He's had an experience.
Sure.
He can't explain.
Sure.
And here it is. He's got photographic proof.
Yep.
It's evidence of a situation. It's evidence of an event, but it's not scientific evidence.
Right. Right. Now, Carter, when you go down there to that spot, how you're always in action, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take. I remember you telling me before. It doesn't take long once you're there.
No, it doesn't. You know, I get a vibe. My last book with the rock gifting on that trunk of that tree.
Yeah.
It's 2019. I'm getting visions in my head as I lay myself down to sleep at night. My wife and I meditate just to get the edge off. We can sleep. And I see, just 2 or 3 nights ago, I was seeing their habitat. They were showing me where they live, and I get visions of their faces. I seen 5 or 6 faces all kind of crowding around. It's like they're looking in a camera lens, but I'm looking, I'm watching it. Have you seen that stuff?
Nothing like that.
They're showing me where they lived. And we have weird stuff going on around the house. I've started a list. It's called Strangeness at Home. Since 2019, when I had that event, when I led that last expedition for BFRO, I've covered 3 pages full of 12-point typewritten page and Word documents of all the weird things that are going on around our house. You know, lights going on and off, you know, things flying off the shelf, something pulling pillow out from underneath my wife's head while she's sleeping, something lifting me up and carrying me off to the edge of the bed at night. Ever since that, and since that event, I get visions. And I'm, you know, it's always in the alpha stage. I'm not sleeping, I'm not tripping or any of that kind of stuff. You know, they're communicating. Yeah. Yeah, I know someone, you probably got, you know, 50 of your listeners going, oh, but it's happening. And that people just don't believe it because it's, one, not happening to them. Number two, they haven't seen it happen to anybody else.
Anyone else.
Yeah, but I can't help it if nobody believes me. I mean, you've been around the paranormal. Nick's been around the paranormal. You know, weird things do happen.
Yes, they do.
And they're not just organic. You know, you looked at a tree the wrong way and you thought it was a, you know, a totem pole. I mean, it's there's something we sense as intelligent humans that there's something going on. Nick's out with the dog man investigations. I mean, you know when you're in the presence of something.
You do.
Just because you can't say exactly what it is for the scientific boys doesn't mean it ain't happening.
Exactly.
You do get that certain feeling when you're out there, and you know when that apex predator is in the area and it's watching you.
Yeah.
And
I love it. I mean, it lets me know I'm on the right track.
Right.
I've never been threatened. I've felt a couple of times like I should probably leave, but I wasn't smart enough to do it because I was enjoying the rush. And it sounds like, 10,000 mosquitoes in your ears when it's happening. You just go, I'm here, you're here. Thanks, guys, you're here. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, don't hurt me, but thanks for letting me know. And I'm putting away my cameras, no tape recorders. I just want to sit here and enjoy, do some weird stuff. Let me see you here. I mean, I don't have to have photographic or recording proof,
Right.
So sometimes I go to my research areas and just sit and absorb.
You getting orbs, Carter?
Huh?
You getting orbs? Seeing a lot of orbs?
I've seen a few. The night that I had that event in Illinois, 2019, at the same time, or virtually the same time, my wife saw a blue orb in our bedroom here, 325 miles away.
Impressive.
Well, I called her the next morning and said, you won't believe what happened. And I was telling her everything. She said, what time was that? Well, I said, best I can think is around 9:30 or 10. I don't know, but I think around 9:30 or 10 is when those rocks were left. Well, that's about what time I saw a blue orb. It was flying through our bedroom. I not only saw it like live in person, but I also saw the reflection in our dresser mirror.
Right.
So she was watching it. As she's watching it, she's seeing it over here,
right,
reflecting in the mirror. So it's not like it's coming through the window, a car or anything. It's like it's an orb, and then it flew into the bathroom and left.
How about when you're out in the field and there is a Bigfoot out there? Have you ever seen in the sky an orb of some sort? Blue, white, yellow, whatever.
I've seen a tree that looked like it was backlit, white. Wow. It looked like, it looked like a spotlight on the other side of the tree shining through. And we had just heard some Sasquatch calls. This was in Ellington, Missouri, is where one of my research areas is. I'm not hiding that one. That's a cool place. But anyway, there was my wife and I were standing, and we heard what sounded like calls. We're looking across this little pond, and right across the pond, there's this light. It just kind of came on and got real bright, and it went back down when these calls happened, and then they stopped. When that light went out, whatever we were hearing, it stopped and never started up again. That's the only time I've seen one. I have habituation witnesses that tell me they see craft, all kinds of colors of orbs. They see craft on their property right before or right after a Sasquatch event.
Or during.
Huge
Yeah.
craft,
Yeah.
100 yards long cigar-shaped thing, as long as a football.
See,
Yeah.
Jay, that falls into what I was researching last year when I
Absolutely.
did that 6-month long. Carter, what I did was for 6 months straight, I took all the reports from, it turned out to be 465 people after 6 months. But afterwards, I continued to get reports in afterwards, and it went up to well over 600. But people that have either seen or had an encounter with a dogman or a Sasquatch, and they saw in the sky a white, yellow, or blue orb before the event, after the event, or before and after the event. And it turned out to be 93% of the people that I interviewed or had communicated with had actually seen that before, after, or before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah. What to make
So
of it?
what do you do with that? Even if you
Yeah.
give that, let's say 20% of those people are mistaken,
Mhm.
you still got 80. I mean, how many people have to tell you that before you go, there's something here?
There's something
Yeah.
here is right.
Yeah.
93% of the people though that I had spoken to,
Yeah.
and it just went up another 1% because I had more people, who I have spoken to recently about it. It's
Yeah.
it's just odd, and like you said, minus 20% of that, minus 50%. You still have, half of 93%. You still have that 46%,
Yeah.
47% people out there that saw something in the sky, when they saw or had an encounter with a Sasquatch or a
Yep.
dog man.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these people, they're going down a country road, cornfields on either side, a dog man just steps out and runs right across. And in the sky before, after, or both, they saw an orb. So, trying to piece
Something to
together
that.
all this info.
You know what's really bizarre is that in ghost hunting, orbs and energy are like accepted, commonplace. Oh yeah,
Accepted,
oh, yeah.
yes.
But
yeah.
you put it in the Sasquatch, oh, you're full of crap. Come on,
You're
man.
full of shit.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So which is it? I mean, if it's good for this, it's good for that.
Right.
Orbs are energy. Perhaps you
Yep.
have to change into a small orb to change your energy to get from one plane to the other or
To
one
another.
dimension.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how ghosts travel, allegedly. It's an accepted belief system and thing to be seen.
Yep.
Orbs, ghosts, lights, that's all accepted in the paranormal field as far as ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't bleed over into Sasquatch. Is that Sasquatch's fault? Is that the Sasquatch investigators being snobs?
Yeah. God forbid we accept that in cryptozoology.
Oh my God.
Oh
No.
God.
We are nuts. But the people, I get calls about once a week from somebody. Hey, I got somebody wants to tell you something, and so they tell me, and it's good stuff. But that's the whole thing with all the stuff we do: Dogman, Mothman, Pale Whites, Slender Man, Sasquatch, whatever. That stuff's real. It's going on. And, because we believe it, we talk about it, we're the crazies.
Yeah.
But it's real stuff. Somebody of some credence, somebody of some importance has to come forward and go, guys, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And we don't have that,
Yeah.
We all know this stuff is going on.
We all do.
We know it. We all know it,
Yeah.
The problem is a hell of a lot of the investigators out there in cryptozoology are totally discounting anything having to do with orbs or any kind of lights being around when, you know, a Mothman or a Dogman, a Sasquatch, whatnot, a Frogman has been seen. They're totally discounting it. They're throwing that evidence out and they're not using it. I mean, when I was doing police work, if we found a match head on the ground, that was evidence.
Yeah.
The littlest piece of evidence can probably or might in the future solve your case. You never know.
Absolutely.
So you try to take every bit of evidence, and maybe you can't use it now, but you squirrel it away. You never know what you might use it for or what it might prove. But a lot of them are totally discounting it. They don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not fair. You know, I had a couple of people call me today, women who had been asked to speak at some Bigfoot conferences. And they say, how come you don't? I say, well, nobody asks because I'm the woo guy. There's not a flesh and blood aper in the country that is putting on a Sasquatch conference that's going to ask me or anybody like me to come out, unless they just want to give me a hard time.
Right.
You know, Carter, there are organizations out there that will delete or tell you straight up, leave or whatever, if you go beyond what they want you to tell stories about or to print, what evidence you got. You know, if you're telling them that you have a Sasquatch sighting and it was in such and such a place, but at the same time you saw a UFO, they don't want to know anything about it. They want it straight up, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, that's it. And they don't want to hear anything else about it. I've come across that twice.
Ignorance is bliss, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I just
is,
can't see
friend.
people wanting to throw evidence out. What's the harm in putting it down in your notebook, you know, for future reference? You never know. But
well, yeah, well, it's the same with BFRO. That's why I don't do reports for them anymore. They whitewash, they sanitize reports. They take stuff out of reports. They bury them.
I didn't want to name the names. Okay.
Huh?
You're right. I didn't want to name names right out there, but you did.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm still a member, but they're falsifying data. They're the biggest database in the world, and their data is falsified.
Yeah.
What?
Why?
Really?
I don't understand it.
And not only do you take the good stuff out of the reports, you publish those reports anyway. What a fool. I mean, you think I'm not going to notice it? You know, I'm anal retentive. I've been a real estate agent for 26 years. I make copies of everything. If I take a report off of BFRO to call and want to talk to this witness, I make a copy of the report. And that's what I used for my questionnaire for this witness.
Right.
Okay, well, tell me more about the description. How far from the Sasquatch were you? Well, I get all the data. And then when I get the report ready and I send it into BFRO, I print that one. So I have the before and the after. So you want to go take data out of my report and you publish it anyway? You think I'm not going to notice? You think that witness isn't calling me and going, Carter, what the hell did you do? That's not what I told you. They're pissed.
Turns back on you.
I know, Jerry. I'll give you Matt's phone number. You can call it. You can email it, and nothing. It's just because they don't care. You know, they're keeping the intellect, the sapient, sentient beings that they are. They're keeping that out of there. I saw it run across the highway. Okay, that's a great report. Let's put it in the BFR.
Great saying.
End of report.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's great.
That's it. Yeah.
I saw 2 of them. Oh, wow. Oh, God, that's a double. Oh, BFO. And like you were saying earlier, Nick, our theory was that for every report, you're probably only hearing 10% of what's really happening. 90% of the people will never say.
Never.
I saw a Sasquatch that just ran alongside my car or ran across the highway.
Right.
I did a conference in Joplin, Missouri last year, August, September, I can't remember. A lady came up to me. She's a scientist. Her and another fellow scientist and two other women leaving a scientific conference saw a Sasquatch run alongside their car, leaving Missouri, going to Oklahoma. It ran along a car. They sped up and then they slowed down because they were freaked out. When they slowed down, it ran up and ran across the highway and disappeared. They lost an hour and a half. This was at 8:15. They looked at their watch and the clock in the car was 10 o'clock.
Wow.
They lost, and they're scientists. The woman and her friend in the front seat, they're both scientists. Do not believe. Well, now they do, because
Sure
they
they
saw one, and they can't. And the two women in the back seat work for the same scientific company, but they're not degreed. They are both PhD. And that was the classic conversation I had with this lady. She was shy. You could tell she was a nerd and a geek and a scientist. And I don't remember what they were, biological something. But the fact that they saw the creature and they were doing 45, 50 miles an hour, and it was keeping up with the car. Then they sped up, and it kept up with them. Then they freaked out. They slammed on their brakes. They slowed to a stop, pulled over. It kept going, looked back, looked at them, ran across the highway, and was gone. But they lost hour and a half, 2 hours.
But you can imagine with people with degrees in known science, how they're trying to come to grips with something that they have no belief system in, yet they saw it with their own two natural eyes, their human eyes. They must still to this day be going, we got to explain that, but they can't.
You can't.
Yeah, and those are the people that we don't hear from. Every now and then we hear from someone, some of the brave ones. That's why I put this book out, only because I want more people talking to me, you, Nick, whoever, and say, hey, I just saw a dog man. I just saw a mothman. I saw one of these pale whites. I think it was after me. Tell us the story. Give us a database.
Yeah.
No one's going to know who you are.
Exactly.
I haven't told anybody in any of my books, none of them, if there's names in there, they're all fake. Some people like to have a name to talk about somebody. So, but we want the data. This is grassroots operation. We're not getting any help. We don't have any grants. We're not ever going to get them.
No.
I'd like to have a grant to study Dogman.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I'll tell you.
No, Nick Valenti and myself, we would like about $2 million to study Dogman. What do you think, government?
I agree.
We'll get right back to you.
Text in and bark at the moon. That's what they tell you.
Yeah, go pound sand there, Gruber.
Give us $2 million for the Dogman, $2 million for the Sasquatch. We'll be all set.
Yeah, I'll call you from Aruba.
I'll tell you, those are scientists that you had, the story on. I have, I want to say several hundred combination of police and military, active police who have told me what they've seen throughout the country.
Yeah.
Contacted me and told me what they've seen. I verified that they are either police or military. But they're like, but you can't tell anybody I told you this, but this is what we've seen. And it's right outside Fort so-and-so. And they're there all the time. It's like, wow. But, like I said, people just don't want to believe what they've seen with their own eyes sometimes.
I know.
They can't explain it.
Now, 10 years ago, we wouldn't even be having hardly any of these conversations because nobody was saying anything.
Oh, no.
But, so why do you think this is all happening now? Nick, why do you think?
I think that the society has evolved. I mean, people are coming out of the closet saying what their sexuality is and what their preference is and all this and that, and they don't care as much anymore. I think, we're evolving in that position, but I still think that there's a lot of people that don't want to seem to be, crazy. Because, I mean, say you work for Monsanto, for instance, it's a big chemical company, and you're up for vice presidentship, and you saw a dog man. are you going to tell the people on the board, hey guys, you know what I saw yesterday was oh yeah, well, I don't think you're going to be our new vice president. Forget about it. People
Well,
are still afraid.
But what if our Monsanto weed killer created that dog man?
It's a possibility there. Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
No, let's hide it. That's what they're going to want to do.
We'll bury it. That never happened. In fact, let's kill this guy. You know, before we, he's not a vice president. He's going to have a terrible accident tomorrow at work.
Yeah, let's get rid of him. Yeah.
I mean, they're getting sued as it is for this, that, and the other thing. We don't want to talk about that.
Well, I kind of think we're at an age of awakening.
Yes,
I'm tired of the government lying to me. I'm tired of not saying what is on my mind. I'm tired of not being able to share what happened to me and my kids, 2 decades ago. I mean, like you said, people are starting to come out, but I think 10 years ago, you wouldn't have heard Dogman, Mothman, Slenderman, any of that in the same sentence in the same day. Now it's all over. And social media has been around for a while.
Yeah, no, it has been. But like you said, it's as the decades roll by, our social awareness and our coming out is just expanding. People are being a little bit more lenient with it. They are coming out and they are telling people because they're not going to be looked upon as a bunch of fools.
Yeah.
At least that's what they say out there. I mean, you're going in to have your heart operated on, and your heart doctor is discussing with his 2 nurses about this Sasquatch he saw in his backyard. Are you going to let him operate on you? I don't know.
Probably not.
Well, that might be a prerequisite for operating on me.
That's right.
This guy's all right. If the knife slips, it's okay. I trust him. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose.
You got a point there. Yep. Very good point.
How are we doing on time? Are we okay?
I think we're getting out of time. If we want to just wrap it up here.
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm just asking. It's your show. I'm just asking.
I tell you what, though, I do want to have you back on, man.
Well, I definitely want to come back, and I'll have my book, and I'll get you guys a copy.
I'd like to read that and review it in all the sites I have, and I'll post it for you, Carter.
Okay, that'd be awesome. The book looks real good. When you see the cover, it's just very real,
Yeah,
and
your
if
other
you see the
two are
posts
amazing.
on social media, everyone's roasting me, or praising me.
Yeah.
That's just fake. What the heck? Who posts that stuff? Oh, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think Jay would agree with me. A lot of the stuff that you came out with today is like firsthand knowledge that people have been asking the questions about, but haven't been getting the answers. And Jay, really, sincerely, I think we got a lot of great info that came out at today's interview.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's Carter. Thank you very much, man, for coming on. It was an honor.
And Carter, after I finish that book, I'm going to give it a full review. And if it has in it what I'm thinking from what you said, I think it's going to be a smash. I'm going to push that book like crazy then.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it does. It's just real stuff. There's no fiction in my books. One of my books, the last book with my guy from Canada that had like 30 years of ongoing interactions. I put one chapter of his because Sibylla Irwin got him to come on her show, Sketching Encounters.
Right.
And she drew what he would. He was so spooked. He wouldn't come out, but he was like on the air, and he used his real name.
Wow.
And because he's tired of being told he's crazy.
Sure.
And enough people get fed up with being told to go pound sand when something that has happened and you have seen has happened and you're being ignored.
So that Canadian fellow, he was in book 2.
He was the second book, Sasquatch of an Enigma 2, Blowing a Mind in Canada.
Good.
Do you have that book?
I don't have that one. I had difficulty getting your first book, and I looked it up while we were talking before on Amazon, and I can't find it. This is frustrating.
I got
Oh.
mine from you, Carter.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I know I have your address. PM me your address,
All right.
and I'll send you both the second one and
Great.
the third. I signed a deal with Beyond the Fray
Uh-huh.
Okay.
book deal, and that's part of the reason some of the stuff's not out there. And I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
There were some issues I had, and we kind of worked through them, but I'm
Right.
not gonna do anything with them anymore.
Yeah.
It's just we don't see things the same, and so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's probably why that. But you'll have both my book. Jay, you've got one and two.
I got 1 and 2. We just need the third.
Okay, all right. So I'll get Nick 2 and 3. I'll get Jay the third.
Beautiful.
But Nick, send me your address.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook Messenger.
All right. Yeah.
You still have mine, Carter? Or you need me to send it to you again?
Go ahead and send it. I'm pretty sure I have it.
Okay.
But just send it because I'm making a list of my podcast brethren's
Right.
email contact. I have all the contact stuff, but
Right.
I know I mailed you a book.
Yeah.
But I have your address. Just send it so I have it.
Okay. We'll do.
You're
Carter, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we go here?
No, just if anybody wants to buy one of these books, you can email me at sqexplorer@gmail.com. I'm putting together a new website. I had another website. This is relichominid.com. I'm getting rid of that. It was just to sell the book. It's not really to take information. It was just an e-commerce website.
Right.
So it's not really informative or really exciting. So I'm putting a new website together. But so just sqexplorer@gmail.com. Email me that way. You can send me money to my PayPal, and I'll tell you that way. So you can find me on Facebook or email me at sqexplorer@gmail.com.
And if anybody out there, finds it difficult to contact Carter or find him, you can always contact me in North American Dogman Project, Region 3 in Facebook Messenger, and I'll pass along any information to Carter from you. So one way or another, you'll get in contact with him. And I can't wait to really read these two books because if what's in there is what I suspect,
it is.
We got a lot more answers.
It's off the charts. It's off the charts. It's just a matter of having an open mind.
Really appreciate it.
You were awesome.
All right.
Let's
do this again. I'll send the books as soon as I get them. They're shipping Monday, so a week from tomorrow. So I should have them in a week or 10 days. And
that's great.
All right, buddy. Stick around for a minute after I stop recording, if you don't mind, Carter. And everyone, it's been episode 7 of season 5, and we are rocking and rolling.
Wow.
We'll be back next week with another awesome guest. We will see you then. Have a good night.
Take care, man. Good night, everybody.
Good night.